So I want to talk about Gennady Golovkin, Triple G versus Saul Canelo Alvarez, which happened tonight live on pay-per-view. So this fight had been anticipated for a really, really long time. Golovkin had built up a reputation the past 4 or 5 years of being a very, very dangerous puncher with tremendous knockout power and had never lost a fight. And many folks felt that Canelo was ducking Triple G for a long time, so we finally got the fight tonight. And the thing about me is just a little insight on me, I love watching combat sports, whether it be professional wrestling, even though it is, entertainment, it's not real, it's still fun to watch, and I grew up with it. I love watching mixed martial arts, and I love watching boxing. And to me, a great story, whether it be real or fake, can be told in any of these sports. When you have two warriors go out there and it's back and forth and you have drama and you have characters and you have these guys really fighting to prove their manhood and to prove a point, it always ends up being a great result. And that's pretty much what happened tonight. The real refreshing thing about this fight is that both Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin came out here to fight. This was a very aggressive fight. It was a very exciting fight and much, much better than I had originally thought. And going into the fight, I picked Triple G to win this thing. And after watching the fight, well, we're going to get to the judges here in a minute and what actually the result of the fight was. But I want to first commend these dudes because they went out there and these guys, both Canelo and Triple G, have really, really strong chins. There were some big shots being thrown. Golovkin is known for his knockout power, and Alvarez ate a lot of his shots. You could tell he was kind of hurt near the end, even though he'll deny it. The shots were definitely taking effect. I felt that Golovkin also took a lot of great, great uppercuts by Alvarez, and he hung in there. And I respect this fight. I mean, this was a war. This was scientifically a great fight. There wasn't a lot of BS. There was really, really good head movement on the part of Alvarez, and Golovkin was the aggressor most of the fight. Alvarez was playing defense, but he played it pretty well. And his counter-punching was very effective, but none of the shots, at least I felt, that none of the shots, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 in the entire fight, really hurt Triple G. Triple G was a machine. I thought this fight told a great story because early on in the fight, Canelo was doing a lot better than I thought. I really did think that Triple G was going to go ahead and run through this guy, and it's my fault. I've never been a huge fan of Canelo Alvarez, and I underestimated him. And that's my mistake because he went in there and in the first few rounds, Canelo was really, really effective when it came to counter-punching and going for the body. Triple G tried to, of course, use his jab to establish a foothold and to hit his range, but Canelo was in there and hung in there. The second round was a little bit harder to call, but I think that Canelo had a few great power shots in that round, going to the body, really trying to set him up for something bigger later on. But Golovkin was still not showing any signs of wear and tear. Then with round 3, Triple G really at first wasn't doing so well, but then he started landing some really big shots. But Canelo was still hanging in. But when we got to round 4, the story of the fight really shifted because now you could see that Canelo was starting to feel the effects, and it looked like at this point that Triple G was starting to really, really get, his head in the game. Triple G landed several big shots. Canelo came in with some counters, but Golovkin would counter those. Canelo couldn't get any space. Triple G was going after him, extremely aggressive, and that became the story of the fight. Really, for the remainder of it, was Triple G just continuously going after Canelo, and Canelo using his counter-punching and his defense to try to get around it. But you could tell that as the fight progressed that Canelo was getting more and more tired. I mean, that wasn't even a secret here. Triple G continued to put pressure on him. So I think what happened was Golovkin realized that if you put pressure on Canelo, you can, catch him off guard. And that's what happened. Same thing with round 5. Canelo put himself against the ropes, which I thought was very weird, and was kind of asking Triple G to hit him, so to speak. He was kind of goading him in, obviously, to set him up for a counterpunch, which is a very dangerous thing, because when you're fighting somebody like Triple G, who has a reputation of laying dudes out, You got to be real careful when you do things like that. But Canelo seemed very, I don't want to say uncomfortable. He just seemed very like he wasn't fighting his fight. Now, with round 6, you know, Canelo did start early on to kind of be a little more effective with his punches, but it's not enough because once Triple G reestablished that chasing route and that range, Canelo once again had to fight off the ropes, and Triple G really started to come in on him. But all these fights, all these rounds, the first 6 rounds or so were pretty close, I would say. Then moving forward is when Triple G really became more consistent, and it became the story of consistency. Triple G would go in, he would lay his punches in. Canelo just couldn't really land anything big. He just really couldn't do it. So in round 8, it looked like Canelo may have come back, but Triple G again cut him off, and Canelo just couldn't stay away from him. Triple G was just very comfortable in there for these last few rounds. Now, there was some interesting things that went on here moving forward near the end of the round. Round 9 I thought was a great round. Canelo actually landed a few big shots, and I could totally see now maybe Canelo coming back, but Triple G was still, you know, effective in there. Now, the last 3 rounds of this fight, 10, 11, and 12, were freaking amazing. Canelo got more aggressive. It's like he realized that he was losing the fight, and he had to go in and make a comeback and really guarantee himself a victory with the championship rounds. But it's interesting because even though Canelo did nail some pretty big shots, Triple G still kept at him. Like, Canelo was hitting him with some big shots, and Triple G kept coming. Canelo just tried. And the thing is, these fights, these guys were going in there and just really mauling each other. This was the kind of boxing that I really like, where it's just, they're trading shots, there's science, there's a little bit of brawling. You got a good mix here. You know, the 11th round was interesting because you could tell Canelo was trying to eke out those wins, you know, really coming in with some power shots. But Triple G is still just hammering it down. Then the 12th round is when Canelo came out, you know, guns a-blazing with some big shots. But every time that he stopped, Triple G was right back in there, you know, aggressive, hitting the big shots. But I think Canelo did win the last round. The decisions, the scoring here. So the round was a draw. Sorry, the fight was a draw. One judge gave it 114-114, which was a draw. The other judge was 115-113 for Triple G, which is actually the same scorecard that I had. And no, mine was 116-112, I think. Yeah, mine was a little. No, I think it was 115-113. I had it in my head. I didn't write it down. And then the most preposterous and ridiculous scoring I've seen in a long time. One judge gave it 118-110 Canelo. That's ridiculous. Canelo may have won a handful of rounds, but for them to say he won 118-110, no, that's a bunch of nonsense. But I'm happy this fight happened, and I'm happy we're going to get a rematch. Both guys afterwards said they want to have a rematch, and I think it's worth seeing. And usually when these boxing fights happen, and this includes the Mayweather versus McGregor fight a couple weeks ago, I usually don't recommend people go out and actually watch them. Most folks, you know, boxing should be seen live. Just like the Super Bowl, you know, you got to see it live. Watching it on tape is not the same. But I would recommend, if you didn't see this fight live, you should see it. It was a great fight. Both guys fought really, really hard. I didn't like the fact that, like, the fans booed the preposterous 118-110 call. But I didn't like the fact that Canelo went out there and was like, oh, well, I won most of the rounds. Like, I don't think so. I mean, again, you have to say that, but I don't think so. But I was happy to hear that both guys did want to do a rematch. People are saying this could be one of the great all-time boxing series. Canelo still, you know, very impressive in the shots he took. And Triple G, I felt, is still the champion, still has not lost. And honestly, I think he won this fight and he got robbed. I do believe he got robbed, but I am not going to lie. The fact that it was a draw, I think, is more interesting because that means that the rematch might be even bigger. So if you're not a fan of boxing, that's fine. I mean, I don't know why you clicked this video, but if you are a fan, you probably already watched this fight. But if you are not a fan, you should go out of your way to watch this fight because I had a great time watching it. Middleweights just going in there, and it was fun. So let me know your thoughts on the fight in the comments. Did you agree with what I said? What do you think about the judge's decision? Just curious here. Drop a little bonus on World of Geekdom. Let me know your thoughts. Talk to you guys later.